Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. As usual, as soon as we start this program, you're free to pick up the telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything. There are a lot of different issues going on all over the world that you may feel comfortable to speak about. In Grenada, we do have a lot to. We are just trying to find our way after a hurricane that caused tremendous challenges to Carriacou and the northern part of Grenada. And yesterday, I think, was the beginning of the reopening of school. A lot of excited and happy parents and concerned parents. So you can pick up the telephone and give us a call. While I wait for your telephone call, and I would like it to come as soon as possible, I will spend some time on education. You will never hear me far from education. That's one of the reasons I came on radio, because I was very dissatisfied with the education system, the productivity level in education, not content. Nothing is wrong with the content. Not subject matter. Nothing is wrong with the subject matter. But I've been very disappointed with the productivity level in education. Throughout the country, productivity is an issue. You will hear a number of people in the service industry, the business sector, some people in government would talk about low productivity. But I particularly zero in on productivity in the education system because I believe it is exceptionally low. It is unacceptable. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre, good day.
Yeah, my brother.
Yeah, I like the line back, boy. I like a whole year, boy.
Good to hear you. Yes, that line.
Yeah. So, one thing the hurricane hit Carriacou, I think Andy and Ron was going up every weekend. They are low and they say volunteers. So I thought people, they call for volunteerism, and I thought people turn out to help. Up until only to hear that in the supplementary budget that at $1 million for cleaning up Carriacou. So who the money going to? That's a big question as well. Because if everybody turn out to volunteer, because our good friend say, well, if you have a place to stay here, go up and go and help too. So other people go willingly and go and help to clean up Carriacou. No, you hear about budget for cleaning up when Adam was moving up and back and forth and saying every weekend go up with a lot of people and tell them he's volunteer. No, you hear about the cost is almost $1 million. And what makes it worse again? I just heard the news there that $12 million for Marlin Road. I don't know if it's not the same Marlin St. John, a Marlin somewhere else. And the Bill Road and the sea somewhere around there. $12 million. After that deal is so long, that it's time for a corruption to stop. It's time for a corruption to stop. I find that it's too much normal. And so they think people don't pay attention to that, you know. Most of them be very sharp on them. A lot of people just be talking about this thing what they've been doing and they pretend like nobody paying attention. But you know you hear people voice. People pay attention of this corruption. Take him to pay a day.
Yes, I think a lot of people are concerned with the level of corruption that is going on in the National Democratic Congress. The level of corruption are going in the government and the manner in which they flaunt the law with impunity. They speak a lot about volunteer. I understand some people were paid and some were not paid. So while they was asking people for volunteer, some of the people they're bringing up, particularly the party supporters, was getting some remuneration. They was getting money. They were being paid, whereas some others were not paid. A very corrupt group. And this is why they want to dilute the significance of the public service. Because the public service have a lot of check and balances. These people sat down and planned to do these things, you know. So they felt, first of all, we had to soften up the public service. We have to bring some of our strong supporters at the end. We have to amend the legislation to change the procurement rules and regulation so that instead of 15,000, we bring it to 100,000. These rules was passed to minimize corruption. So once you have a contract more than 15,000, at least 3 persons had to bid for it. They said no, they have 100,000. And we understand there are people who have contract in exceeding 100,000 and no bidding was taking place. So it's a very corrupt government. I don't think anybody in Grenada now disputing that. When you ask strong NDC members about corruption, those are not walking away and not bending their head, drawing reference to other incidents that happened in the past. So yes, we selected a very corrupt government and we're paying the price for that. And while attention is given to all this corruption, this sensation, another disease is taking place in the country. 70% of our children that exit secondary school cannot meet the minimum requirements for the job market. This one is a big one. But it is not something tangible. It's not a bridge or a piece of road. It's not a house. So if you don't speak about it, it will remain there and you don't see it. It's an intangible. The children go to school for 13 and a half years, at least. And when they come out, you expect the majority of them to be battle ready. They're ready for the job market. They have the basic education to take them further if they need to further their education. And then you realize, out of every 100 children, 70 cannot meet the requirement. And then when you speak about it, the blame game come on. Well, I lay that responsibility at the foot of the Ministry of Education. And people have to understand, when people express these criticisms, you shouldn't take it personal. If you are working in education and people are criticizing the productivity level in education, you ought not to take it personal. You should see if there is truth in it. You should call the Ministry of Education and say, this individual is on radio consistently accusing you of poor production. Is it true? Is it a fact that 70% of the children that exit school cannot meet the minimum requirement? What this individual is saying, is it the truth? This individual is daring you and challenging you. He's saying truth come to tongue. Is he speaking the truth? And maybe the Ministry of Statistics will tell you, no, this individual is not speaking the truth. It is 69.5%. So you could challenge him, and I will gladly apologize. If it is not 70% and it's 69.5%, I will apologize. Because my research is not scientific. And I do research to have the courage of my own conviction, so I could speak with conviction. But if what I'm saying is true, then the Ministry of Education should examine it and see what we can do to increase productivity. And this morning I'll spend some time on that, because this is unacceptably low. And those who are involved should shed a tear, like Obama. Obama used to fake tears, Take his finger and touch his eyes. You cannot have an education system. Well, you ought not to. You shouldn't have an education system with such low productivity, and those who involve are comfortable with it. Can be. Too much of our children are getting left behind. It seems to me that it is maliciously and personally done. It is so systematic that one have to attempt it to believe is either carelessness or people believe these children who are not meeting the basic requirement, they shouldn't meet it. I'm concerned. Because if it's 70%, it could well be that me and mine are involved in it. We have to do better. We ought to do better. We should do better. There is no excuse. What is the excuse we could give in Grenada for this low productivity? In Grenada now, electricity, telephone, and water, bearing in mind that we have the situation in Carriacou, and that will change things slightly. But prior to the hurricane, electricity, telephone, water, and internet had a 90% reach. 90% of our people had access. And I'm being very conservative when I speak. I'm not saying 96%. I'm saying 90%. This is not like yesteryear, when children used to say, I don't have food to eat. I don't have to go in the river for water. I don't have electricity at my home. I went to the library, but the library closed down. This is not the period of time. What is the reason for this low productivity? Why is it the ministry so lackadaisical? They don't care. I was listening to an individual a couple of days, and he's making a claim that some children, those strong in all subjects, some those strong in maths. But perhaps the teacher cannot teach maths. Every day you have to use maths. You need money. You need to buy things in the shop and the stores. You have to check. You have to make certain the change you get is correct. Parents spend money every day. They have their salary, they have their income, they have their wage. They have to make certain they have the right wage. They have to pay NIS. 6% or 6.5% have to come out of the money for NIS. How they know the percentage is correct? Every day people cook food in the house. They put a pound of flour when they're baking. What amount of yeast they have to put? They don't put a pound of yeast. So a formula is involved there. They're using sugar. They have an idea. All these things are maths. Why we don't make maths more interesting and show the children how it relates in their daily life? Measure the house. Most of our houses in Grenada are low-income houses, albeit badly built. Measure the house. How much toil that I have to buy to go on the thing. A Form 1 child is supposed to be able to do that? Because in mathematics, when you're doing area, those are some of the examples you provide to practicalize the mathematics so the children will get the grasp. How much ply that I have to go in a 16 by 16? The child must be able to work out that. If you're using board, how much pieces are board? Area is length by breadth. If mommy wants a piece of carpet to put in the drawing room, the child is supposed to tell her what measurement to go and get the carpet. The teacher is supposed to give the example, give them the formula, and encourage them to work it out. So they will not be doing something abstract. It will be applicable. It could be practical. And they would have a better understanding of the principle. A child is supposed to be able to calculate what amount of water the bucket could hold. The teacher is supposed to give an example and give the formula and encourage them to measure the bucket in their home and calculate how much water. We have to do better. As soon as you exit school and you go on the job market, people may ask you to help them calculate VAT. Government have 16% VAT, 15% VAT, and 20% VAT. A secondary school child is supposed to be able to do that? Government want everybody to pay tax. So the child must able, in that way we practicalize in the maths. You bring in maths home. Maths is not something abstract. Young people are given time to walk in a bar. They can check 3 beers, 2 stag, 1 malt, a cigarette. I don't want the malt again. Give me a drinks in instead. How much? Make it practical. The butcher in the market, looking at an animal, and in his mind he quarter the animal and average it to able to pay a price. What's wrong with us? Then we come and say children don't like maths. Maths have to be used on a daily basis. The bus driver, they have to buy things. They have to buy gas. They have to pay the driver and the conductor. So some of our children live in school and they enter the job market and you wonder. They're not helpful to the business. Because our teachers have not been doing a good job. And we're fooling the public. When the Ministry of Education say, we get 50% in maths or 60% in maths in a particular school, they lie. You see, if 110 children enter the school, like now, let us suppose 110 children enter McDonald's College. 5 years after, you expect them to do exams, whether CAPA, CXC, or GC, or whatever exams they're doing now. So you expect 110 children to do maths. Let us say 10 children dead. Either they dead or they leave school or they go in America or something to greener pastures. Then you have 100 children that you expect to do maths. But sometimes the schools send 20 children. They send 20 children. And out of these 20 children, they get about 6 pass. So they tell you they get 35% pass or 30% pass. And you feel, well, they're good. Well, you know, they get 30%, they're all right. Or they send 20 and they tell you they get 70%. But what happened to the 100 children? Sometimes they maliciously, willfully tamper the children. They find the children looking borderline, so they don't let them do maths. To doctor the statistics. So when they tell you 30% of the children got maths, yes, scholar, welcome. Yes, scholar, we're waiting for you.
Mr. Pierre,
yes.
Good afternoon.
Yes, thank you and welcome.
Yes, I am calling because I share your concern with the performance of our students, especially in the core areas of maths and English. And I want to say here, and I want to declare and establish that this is not a political issue. This is a national issue that must be addressed by all concerned. And all of us as citizens have to be concerned. And as a retiree, I am very much disturbed with the recent statistics coming out from CXC. And we should have some national statistics coming out of the national exams like the grade 2, grade 4, and grade 5 minimum competency test, which is referred to as MCT. And the performances are not looking good at all. So something has to happen here. We need to address it. As I said, all concerns, and parents, you need to open your eyes. What is happening? Huh? So are our children these days so special that they cannot process maths? Are they have special brain? There are a number of questions we can ask. I know that there are a lot of variables as well, but I think we need to start to look for solutions. It can be done. And you have been highlighted some areas there, and I'm wondering, well, I know you have been in the classroom, but again, you're a practical person. And maths is practical. We live maths every day. The bed we lie on has a shape. That's maths. We wake on morning, the time we wake, that's maths. The movements we make, that's maths. Maths is our life. So how come now the children cannot do maths? How come they can't do maths? Coming from the classroom, I must say, and as a principal, there are a number of teaching strategies and methodologies that I did not think was effective. Because as we say, maths is practical, but we have children sitting in a classroom formally and we're using chalk on board. I think we are teaching maths too abstract, as an abstract. and not making it practical. I used to enjoy taking my children out in the yard, at the different levels. Juniors, we counting stones. We making groups. I recall at the common entrance level, when I had the common entrance class, before I got to the topics like percentages, I used to create a shop in my classroom. Ask the children to bring used item, tins and boxes and whatnot, and we would label them so that they can calculate percentage, make it real. So they're buying. Huh? Those who acted as shopkeepers had to calculate. You make it real. You make it exciting. We have to do things differently. We have to do it differently to get better results. So, Mr. Pierre, thanks for raising those issues now. Somebody in authority must be listening, and I am reiterating that it is time we address this situation. Everybody on board. I recall a few years ago, while I was in the profession and active in the union, when the union organized a consultation at the trade center to look at the performance of maths and how we can collectively, collaboratively address the situation. So we need something like that again. We need a national maths consultation. So, Mr. Pierre, thanks very much for highlighting those issues, bringing it to the fore. I think that's a discussion that should continue.
Yes,
Have a good
my
day,
sister.
sir.
Yes. I am concerned. Because if we are going to able to access the jobs on the international market, we have to do better. The statistics tell you, and that is not my statistic now, in the Caribbean, that 60% of the people looking for jobs, unemployed people looking for jobs, they don't have what it takes to get a job. They don't have the education. They don't have the skills. They don't have the talents. The problem is not there is not jobs. They have jobs, but they're not able to access the jobs. Are you not concerned? If 70% of the children leave school and they don't have what it takes, they will gamble, they will rob, they'll be involved in antisocial behavior. Mr. X tell them, licks it, they go drink rum. They go smoke weed. They go end up taking coke. Scholar tell them, open their business. Prostitution and other sex crime going to rise. Because they're angry. They can't get the jobs on the job market. We must be concerned now more than ever, because we have a government that is insensitive, hostile to people in that group, greedy, and we crown them as poor people terrorists. Now more than ever must be a turning point in the education system. Who vex? The majority of the parents today who have children in primary and secondary school. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, you're right on point, man. This is a situation we're supposed to address in the country for a long, long time. I can understand that, children in going to school and they graduating and they can't even do maths and English, right? I mean, for instance, yeah, I mean that's different. But I just joined a reference there. In the US, if you don't pass English and maths, you cannot graduate. You cannot graduate. You have to pass English and math. Forget about the rest of the subjects, but this is the most important subject, English and maths. And only in the Caribbean they really do these things. You know, you could you could do about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 subjects, and you don't have English and math. You don't worth it. English and maths, that's the most important subject. You can't even get a GED if you can pass English and maths. And long. How you expect that the youths, they say them are the future, and they can't do English and math? Tell me, how they going to face the wall? How they going to face the wall? Huh? How they going to do it? The school should really put some real emphasis on English and maths in the school. Making sure that the children could able to pass English and maths, in other words, to graduate. If they don't cannot pass English and maths, they can't graduate. Plain and simple. So they're going to work hard and get involved and get more interested in doing that if they want to graduate. This is important, English and maths. And I'm glad that you raised that important subject, because this is so important. And I hope that the government is listening, or the Ministry of Education is listening, and take your advice, what you're giving, if they're so interested about the youths. Hey, Mr. Pierre, thanks, man.
Yes, scholar, thank you. When your neighbor house on fire, take water and wet yours. There are a number of areas in Jamaica that police division, they have to operate state of emergency. More and more of our leaders want to pass laws, draconian laws. That is not the answer. The answer is to improve the productivity level in school. When a child leaves school, they can't get a job because they don't have the necessary qualification. They don't have the wherewithal. If they get entangled with the law, then they have a police record. So to get a job in M&N, any one of the lumber yards, to get a job with government as a security officer, to go in a school, you have to have police record. So more and more, the women are getting the jobs as security officers, and the men who. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Women 18, 19, 20, 30 years. Some of them are baby. They're in the night doing security. The boyfriend they home, either making an ex-baby with some other woman, or gambling, or drinking rum, because Mr. X licks it. And conflict in the community. How are we going to solve the problem? The teachers can run. You responsible. The teachers in our country is responsible for the low productivity in education. You're not teaching the people children. It can be taught in a vacuum. Make the thing applicable. When a woman cooking food, that is chemistry. When you put ice in a plastic in a fridge and it get hard, that is chemistry. When she measuring That is physics and maths. When you have a scale, that is physics. When you sit down eating food around the table, the meat is not protein in it. The rice is not carbohydrates. The carrots, you have vitamins in it. You have to teach the children so they could relate. They could relate. What kind of thing is that? Why is the black man chaffing the black man? And then we blaming white people. We have to stop this nonsense about slavery. Slavery gone long. We have our own university chaffing us too. University has not been doing justice to us. The University of the West Indies have internationalized us. We got a lot of recognition that the university is very good. I think it falls in the first 4% of universities in the world. So they give us international recognition, but in the same vein, they're chaffing us. They're letting prosperity blunt the edge of gratitude. As soon as an individual gets a university graduate, he abandons the community. Not all, the majority. Some of them don't even want to talk to their parents no more. You have children go to school, and by the time they're ready to graduate, they don't want their mother going to graduation. Well, don't talk about father. Father hardly going. When you see a father go, sometimes the woman dressed up in red and white, she dress him up in white and red. He's a kind of domesticated father for public ridicule. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Mr. Pierre.
Yes, scholar, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Hear me. Children now, they have to be done things. Reason why they have to be, they're asking, they could call Google and get their exam, what do they have to do. They're calling them, they come, Google giving them all what they want in education wise. And when Google don't give them that, they don't have that in their brains. So I mean, the teachers might be trying. When they do the exam, and they have to do an exam and they go home with the paper and they call Google and they do X, Y, Z. And they get that and they go in school and they pass an exam, but it done. The children that know have to be done because all they do is depending on the telephone. So you can't blame the teachers much for that because the teacher not with them at home, the parents not seeing they doing the thing at home, but the phone doing the work for them. I have a grandson here. He go to college and all them kind of thing, but he's very dunce. Every time I ask him a question, you have to ask Google. So, I mean, we face the facts. I mean, the telephone is a handbook to the children's life, and the parents not seeing that. It's not the teachers. I saying it's the parents that not taking care of the children at home with their phone. When they're going to school, they're giving them the biggest phone. And this thing giving them all the answers. Don't you set a child generation you have now? The don't you best generation, I ain't vexing with you for what you're saying. But the teachers cannot take too much blames. Because Google giving them all the answer. And you have a good evening, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, well, let them teachers call Google. Google, what we gonna do to make the children learn maths? Google go tell them. Google, what we must do to make maths applicable? Google go tell them. If the children could call Google, tell the teachers call Google. Google, I'm teaching this child and here, what am I doing wrong? Google might tell you, you're teaching length by breadth area. Let the child get a tape and measure the house and work out how much board and 100 galvanized. If you put the galvanized 2-inch lap, how much galvanized you have to buy for a 16 by 16 house with a this and that? We have to have answers. We have to stop blaming the Europeans. Rome once conquered England for about 400 years. Black people were selling slaves for 700 years before white people gone by. And they used to castrate all their male slaves, those Arabs, those Muslims. You cannot right the wrongs of history But you have to use history so you don't make the same mistake again. Within 5-10 years, we could change the situation in Grenada. Almost all the women who have children in school today been to a secondary school. The majority of children in school today, their mother was in a secondary school. So we better able to address the challenges of today. In addition to that, we have Google. So if the child asking Google, teacher ask Google too. Google, what am I doing wrong in the class that the children are learning? Google might say, while you're teaching, they're looking at your anatomy, they can learn. So the teacher might understand. Google, how the children, the Google say, you're borrowing all the board when you're teaching. Google, how the teacher, you come in late every morning and Google go answer you. If Google answering children, he must answer teacher. But we need to do better. Mathematics, English language, biology, physics, and chemistry. These subjects are priority. Don't bother with cookery. Majority of people could cook. All you have to do is do a 6 weeks course in food presentation. Don't waste time with agriculture too. When you do biology and physics and chemistry and mathematics, you cover the agriculture program. When you're done, you go by successful farmers. Because when you go in agriculture, it's to make money. We have to get it right. The Minister of Education is a joke. You have one school in Grenada damaged as a result of the hurricane. One school, McDonald College. Not the whole school. A whole month the school will repair. You should have people working night and day. Why you can't work night and day? All this light you have now. People have enough light to play cricket in the night. Why we couldn't repair McDonald College School in the night so that when school starts on the 2nd of September, the children is ready? You already have a slow start. We can't continue where horse rich, donkey go rich. When? The Minister of Education is a waste of time. In any decent country, if they was giving strokes and had the authority to give the Minister of Education 12 strokes. You have no problem, you're getting money. The government say they're not paying you enough. The Prime Minister increase you pay. Well, maybe the amount of money you get must make you stupid. Why McDonald College School was not prepared? A few days before school open, you go in Carriacou and give them some nonsense story. And people still accept that nonsense. Whether you had 2 or 3 or 4 schools prepared in Carriacou, they could have gone to school by ton. And our schools are not seriously overpopulated. So even you had to have a shift system, the children could have been in Carriacou. And you have to be dumb twice to use the play field as a garbage dump. When you have a disaster, you need the play field most. Over a month ago, I said to you, you should have, well, I don't want to say a competition, but an activity asking the children of Carriacou or the North to write stories about the hurricane. Poems, songs, art, or a joke. And give them nice, interesting rewards. So at least the children will be in their home, or in the camp, or in the school, or in their tent, wherever they are. and they're writing essays, they're writing stories, they're writing art, they're drawing, they're writing jokes, they're writing calypso about the hurricane. That is therapeutic. Where are our psychologists? We have one among the advisors, only trying to speak English and walking around as if they're messing ice cream. The time for that to stop. Any individual that do basic psychology, if you read about it, you're going to know after a disaster, the children could be more seriously traumatized than the parents. The parents could be more expressive, and even that could traumatize the children. So the Ministry of Education come in and encourage them to tell the story, and that is therapeutic. It's like you go to confession. You see, I take me cutlass a sharp metal, want to go and cut out the man's head, you know. But I study God. But it come out on your chest. So all these consultants we have in the ministry, all this, not consultant they call them in the ministry, you know. We have some people in the ministry for when hormones jumping up in children's body. Advisors or consultant or what the name they give them. So you don't know. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. Yeah. So they don't know that. The people from Karakou was seriously traumatized. They was not hit hard in 1955 as Grenadians. They was not hit hard in Ivan as Grenadians. They was not hit hard in Emily as Grenadians. They was not hit hard in the revolution as Grenadians. They don't have the experience as us. They were seriously traumatized. Then if you think the parents were traumatized, the children was worse. The children saw parents shedding tears. Maybe the child didn't cry, but that affected the child. So you come up now with an activity. Encourage the children to write essay. So what happened to all these big people in education? They don't censor. Somebody has to tell them that. The principals of the school should know that. But the chief education officer ought to know that. And the minister of education was a teacher all his life. Greed take them, they can't think. And the prime minister flying. So you don't have time to build a relationship, to socialize, to understand his ministers. So all of them for themselves reacting to people. Want to close down radio station. Want to jail people rather than do what they're supposed to do. The Speaker of the House was a teacher too. So much of teachers around them that could provide advice in a disaster. Why is it the black man is the most destructive enemy to the black man? What we're doing is wrong. 2 weeks, the children in Karakou, you have to give them activity. And you could have bring nice, interesting rewards. You could have offered which one of the children that have relatives in Grenada that will accommodate them that can go down to Grenada. You could use 1 or 2 schools and have shift system. Even though it's for 3 or 4 hours in a day. We have enough light. All night children whining in Carnival. They could go to school in the night too. You have a shift system. And then you could have created an activity where children writing stories or essays, children drawing, children carving out, children writing poem, some of them with minds like mine, maybe making joke, write home a joke, how they see wind, and they see the color of the wind. They could have write poems and jokes about it, and that is therapeutic. So you need white people to come and tell you that? The University of the West Indies could have recommended psychologists for the Prime Minister. I think the Prime Minister and his team need a psychologist. I wouldn't say Dr. Pancho because they wouldn't want to take Dr. Pancho advice. But I think the Prime Minister need a psychologist. You cannot have the school just in like that. They don't know when. You don't even give them a date. Yes, scholar, that is the last call for the day punch.
Yes, Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, my brother.
I'll say something here, and I hope nobody will be offended.
If they're offended, they're offended. Just be respectful.
No, but no, and especially my good friend who congratulated you for having been a former teacher who understands exactly what you're getting at, and so on. Mr. Pierre, a person's ability to articulate, to enunciate, is a reflection of their level of intelligence. And anybody who don't agree with that, they don't understand what it takes to be able to educate another person. So that if you as the individual, being a teacher, for example, cannot do such adequately so that the students can appreciate and get excited, even by your ability, in other words, you being an inspiration to them, you're just going to be spinning top in mud. And I tell you, I got a perfect example of such about 2 weeks ago. Well, it didn't even reach 2 weeks yet, but it happened week before, where a teacher who teaches in secondary school in this country right now, I had interaction with her for a few days, you might say, because I was doing something where she is always there. And even one of her sons. And the way she talks to her son, the way she talks about issues or things, the way she relates to things, is a clear reflection to me that this is not one person I would want to teach my son or have to be around my son as a teacher. That is one aspect of it. In other words, you don't have a person like that being a teacher with no discipline. You're talking to our own son, a set of obscene language and whatever. No discipline, no respect, so that it most likely would happen in the classroom where the children would recognize that person's lack of whatever, or that person's inability to whatever, and so it does not inspire such a children, or such people, such person cannot inspire children. But I'm saying something on else, and this is why I don't want anybody to be offended, especially for that part I'm coming with. Mathematics is a very logical subject across the board. Very logical. And generally, psychologists would point out to you that women are not very good at thinking logically. This is a kind of man thing, in that the side of your brain, as they would say, the neurologists would say, is responsible for what? Is being used by men, whichever side, logically, more than women uses it. This is why women are so emotional and men are so calculative. And the fact is, the statistics will show you that most of the teachers in schools in this country especially are women. And this is why I'm saying I don't want to be offending anybody, but take a good look at that. That is a very pertinent issue relative to the subject matter. Because a lot of men are not taking up the teaching job as before. And that could be a problem, because men usually are more mathematically inclined than women. I've
Yeah, but
known that all my life.
yeah, thank you. But the
And I've
result
been on
is
the earth for a little bit.
yeah. Yes, thank you, my brother.
So that could be one of the problems we have that creates a bottleneck relative to the aspect of mathematics in school. And people should consider what I just said there. Take care, sir.
Yes, you see, all of us need to be concerned. The government of the day is expected to take the lead. The best of a man, you see them in crisis. The best of a woman comes along in crisis. The government is not performing good where education is concerned. Not in Carriacou, not in Grenada. The Minister of Education was a teacher. You have a number of ex-teachers in the government. You have a situation in Carriacou where the schools are affected. And the anticipation. The children want to go back to school in September. And you were not even able to give them a clear date. Not even. So when they go back to school, Christmas time then. The Minister of Education, I didn't have much faith in you anyway. But the little respect I have for you, I still have. But not much. We cannot be so dismissive of our education system. That is the way forward. You can't just be lackadaisical and don't care about it, and it's that. So this is a joke then. If I had the authority to prescribe strokes and it was beating 7, I'll give you 12. You had enough time to at least have a shift system in the school in Carriacou. 14 days after the hurricane, you had over $100 million in your hand. You take it making nanate, gallivanting with it. Lying. Instead of concentrating on, we must get school reopened. Even if we have a shift system. If you didn't know what to do, you should ask Ralph Gonzalez or somebody from the university. We must have export in the Caribbean. If you did not want to consult NNP, you must have export in the Caribbean that could have direct you. You all are arrogant, rude, greedy, and poor people terrorists. And I do hope that parents understand that we cannot function with 70% of our children getting chaff in school. We want to thank everybody who participates in the program, and we're back with you tomorrow between 12 and 1 for another opportunity on Target.